Hi, and thank you for joining me for video 3 in my 5-part video series, Strengthening Your Immune System, starting now. Today I will be focusing on gut health. And our gut is complex. It is a 30-foot pathway that runs from our mouth to our anus, so it's not just our tummy. And over the past couple decades, there have been many studies that have demonstrated links between an unhealthy gut and conditions such as cancer, mental health. You know, our mood just in general is linked to our gut. Inflammation, things such as arthritis, autoimmune diseases, and also chronic fatigue is another area that they're looking at as far as being connected to an unhealthy gut. And so with all this going on, if we have an unhealthy gut and all this other stuff is happening, our immune system has no time to be fighting off illnesses very well. So what's going on with that? What is our immune system and how is it connected to our gut? Our gut health depends on our gut microbiome, and that is made up of microorganisms that live in mostly our large intestine. And our gut microbiome is something that is often called now the forgotten organ because it's shown that it's really running the show in a lot of ways. And it's doing this because there's a ton of microbes in there. And, to really understand how many microorganisms are living in our body, we have about 10 trillion cells in our entire body. How they came up with that figure, I don't know, but that's the number that you read about. And there's, in relation to that, there's 100 trillion microorganisms that live in our body. So that's we're outnumbered, with these single cell organisms. And as far as with the microorganisms, there's many different kinds. But what I'm going to do is focus on bacteria today, and how that's affecting our gut. And really the goal is to we have both, unhealthy and good and bad bacteria. And really what we want to be doing is increasing the good bacteria and getting rid of the bad, and minimizing the bad. And our gut actually houses 70 to 80% of our immune system. So the immune system cells in our body, 70 to 80% live in our gut. And where they're living is in our gut tissue. Just quickly, it's an area that we have all the good bacteria living there, and it's kind of like the police of the gut. It's the cells that communicate and kind of say what's good and what's bad as far as what's coming into our bodies. And without that, clearly, it wreaks havoc. That's where like the autoimmune diseases come in and all that. So if there's no police there saying what belongs and what doesn't, again, it can wreak a lot of havoc. So just with that quick couple minutes of explanation, you can go on and on because I took a 6-month class on it, and it's quite a big topic. But what it comes down to is an unhealthy gut equals an unhealthy unhealthy immune system. So what is harming our gut? There is a lot harming our gut. And, I've picked 3 areas that I thought you could work on immediately and make some impact. I do want to say that if you're trying things and you still feel there's something going on, I strongly suggest you head to the doctors. I have a functional doctor that I use, a practice in Hopkinton, Massachusetts, and they're fabulous. And they've worked out, I've got issues, and they've worked out a lot with me and have made my gut what I call pretty healthy right now. So what is working against us as far as our gut? And one thing is our diet. That's why I'm in my kitchen today. We have the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet. And all the processed foods and the sugar and all that, it's working against us. So, what can we do about that as far as improving our diet? Like I was saying, we have good bacteria and bad bacteria. And to get the good bacteria colonized, there are two ways. One is probiotic foods, fermented foods such as kimchi, just quality sauerkrauts are great, kefir, anything that, nowadays you go to stores and it will right on the label say that it's a probiotic. Another is supplementing with probiotics. Clearly the food is a better option, but if those foods don't appeal to you, then adding a probiotic is something you may want to talk to your doctor about. The other part of it is prebiotics. And prebiotics are what feed the probiotics. So the probiotics are the organism. Like that's going to colonize your gut. And the prebiotics feed the gut microbes. And that would be your fiber products fiber foods that you eat, such as your fruits and vegetables, anything that's, and again, like our with the processed foods and the sugars and all that, we're not getting the fiber that we need to keep our gut healthy. And stay hydrated. That's another huge one. And aside with the COVID going on, hydration will help with the mucus in your body. You want to keep that from building up so that if you get an illness such as a cold or COVID hits, if you have like if your mucus is all they call it like thick and sticky in your lungs, then that's not going to help you with your breathing. So hydrate, keep those mucous membranes healthy. And the other thing is don't feel like you have to go cold turkey on all sugars and processed foods. What I do with clients is kind of adding things and really, instead of just saying, oh, I can't have this, saying I'm going to add this, and hopefully crowd out some of those foods that aren't helping your gut as well as they could. And, to help with this, keeping a food journal is something I talked about in sleep, how keeping a journal on gratitude and ways to keep you from worrying at night, making lists so that you're not stewing and thinking about it at night. So keeping a food journal will also keep you, keep track of what you're eating and what you're doing. And the second thing that's affecting our gut is over-the-counter prescriptions. Some prescriptions that are filled by doctors are also wreaking havoc, but I'm not going into those. That's up to you to talk to your doctor and research all that. But Motrin and Tylenol and all those, think twice before you reach for them. There are many alternatives to getting rid of a headache. And again, if it's something that's prescribed by a doctor, I'm not at all asking you to stop taking anything. But if you have a headache, a lot of times it's you're dehydrated or you're tired. If you're on your computer, your neck is will stiffen up and can cause some headaches. So get someone to massage your neck for you. Also work on one trick that I had forever. I think my dad taught me when I was a kid is when you press. There's a pressure point in here, and if you hold on to it, it kind of hurts. If you hold on to it for a little bit, sometimes your headache will go away. Also, we're clenching, so working on these points here and just being aware of clenching can help with headaches. But again, just really try to see if you can find ways around taking the Motrin and the Tylenol. And the third area that I'd like to talk about is stress. And stress is a little tricky to talk about in general. What I would do if you're a client is kind of really delve into what are your stressors, because stress is not a thing. It's how we react to things happening. So, whatever your stressors are, counterbalance them. Exercise. Being grateful is another way to counter stress, and that's in video 5. You'll hear more about that. Sleep, of course, meditating, Even doing body scans on how you're, where are you holding the stress and what can be done about it. And talk to others about how you feel. With everything going on with the pandemic, keeping it all in is not healthy, and it's not going to help your gut. So talk about it and get it out there. So that's our gut. It's 10 minutes, and I could go on and on, but it's a start. So look at your diet. Look at what you're taking for over-the-counter medications, and look at your stress. And again, there's many other problems that are associated with your gut. That's just a start. And I strongly recommend, if you have serious gut issues, to talk to your doctor, because it's something that will strongly affect your immune system, and you want to get that as healthy as possible. The three areas that I'd like to recap for you are: one, your diet, especially prebiotic and probiotic foods. The fiber is going to help you, and the fermented foods are going to help you as far as keeping your gut as healthy as possible and getting those microorganisms in there, and keeping your immunity cells healthy and strong. Also, with the food, again, crowding out junk food be very helpful. Sugar will feed the bad bacteria, and we don't want that. Also, drinking water, tons and tons of water to keep our bodies healthy and happy, especially now that summer's coming, so even extra water. The second tip I gave you was around medications and over-the-counter Tylenol and Motrin. Again, not telling you never to take them. That's totally up to you and talking to your doctor. But just thinking about ways that you can, if you have a headache, other ways, like as far as massages or hitting those pressure points to get rid of the headache before you reach for the medication, because that can mess up your gut health as well. And the third, stress, huge topic in and of itself. Again, if you can work on getting rid of some stressors, that's great. Again, that's a very specific per person kind of issue. But in general, if you can also counter the stressors, exercise, gratitude, sleep, meditation, all that, just do whatever you can to counterbalance that, and hopefully that will help your gut as well. So thank you. And the third video, I'm going to be talking about exercise. So click on that and let's go.